Hey, you guys, and welcome back. So right now I am in the midst of a fast, and so if my voice sounds a little shaky, then that's why, because I'm still in the midst of the fast. And I made sure I'm sitting here in the heat because I turned my air off, the fan off, to make sure that everybody could hear me and what I have to say. I had a dream, and I don't want to say it was a couple dreams. It was actually one long dream, but it had different sections and different scenes to it. And so when I woke and I started to research the dream, I was led to some very significant scriptures that I wanted to share with you. And as a matter of fact, I was going to wait and just put this video out tomorrow, but I was led in my spirit that as soon as I have it ready, I need to go ahead and put it out. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. And I'm not going to read these scriptures. I'm going to just tell you what they are and just give you a little bit about what they're about, and then you can go and read them for yourself. And the reason why I don't typically read scriptures is because most people don't listen to them, and they don't stay on the video to listen to the scriptures and what they mean and all of that. And not only that, but all of us need to get into the habit of getting in the word and reading it and allowing the Most High to, tell us what it is that He wants us to know and showing us things through His Word. So it's important that we all have, that experience of picking up and spending time with the Most High's Word, okay, for ourselves. Excuse me. So the first, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my dream at the end, because it corresponds. There's a part of it that corresponds to the last scripture that I'm going to talk about, and that's going to include some instruction for the children of Israel concerning the times that we're living in, okay? And so the first scripture that I was led to was Jeremiah 51, and Jeremiah 51 talks about the judgment against Babylon and what all is going to happen. It talks about the kings that rise up against Babylon. It's one of the verses says, "Yet from me shall spoilers come unto her," and that's from the Most High. Spoilers are being sent against Babylon. And so another says, "Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes." So that's a little bit of what it talks about. There's also another part that talks about the multitude of waters in the heavens, and it talks about the natural elements that are in heaven that are coming, excuse me, that are coming against Babylon. So it's talking about like the natural elements, the waters, the winds, all of that that's in the heavens that's going to be unleashed and coming for Babylon. And it also talks about how the nations that descend from Japheth are going to be coming against Babylon. So, like I said, go read that scripture for yourself and just see what the Most High speaks to you through this particular scripture. Okay, the second one that I received was 1 Thessalonians 5, and that one talks about the day of the Lord. And now I'm just going to read one part of this one, because this was the one of the parts that kind of stood out to me, okay? And it's 1 Thessalonians 5 and 14. It says, "Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all men." Okay? And so even in some of these scriptures that I was given, it is a warning to the unruly and those of us who may be Israel but are asleep, or we've connected ourselves to, wicked people or wicked entities. We're going along with it. We're associating ourselves with it. So in this, there is a warning for them as well. Not only for those who are awake and who are doing everything that they can to follow the Most High and are awaiting the second Exodus, but also those who are still asleep, who are stiff-necked, who are stubborn, who are, unruly, who are contentious, who are hateful and evil and wicked, and who align themselves with those who are like that. So it's really just a warning for the whole house. Okay. And so, like I said, go, and most of us have probably already read First Thessalonians 5, but like I said, just, read Jeremiah 51 and then First Thessalonians 5. And so when I read these two scriptures, after I read these two scriptures, I was still wondering about the end of the dream because I hadn't found a scripture that really related to that part of the dream. And so I kind of closed things out because I was just, waking up. I had just had the dream. I was trying to research and find out, what the Most High was trying to convey to me in my dream. And so then I went and looked at my notifications, and I saw where, because I'm subscribed to some news channels, and so they'll send like email notifications when stories come out. And so then I received a notification about this news story about North Korea's president or leader going to meet with Putin in Russia. And I'm going to try to see if I can include a screenshot here. If I can't, I'll leave a link down in the description box, and you can go take a look at it if you would like. But the title of that story was Kim Jong-un and Putin plan to meet in Russia to discuss weapons. Okay, so that's what I saw in my notifications. And I just want to say here that I think that a lot of people kind of don't give North Korea as much attention as they should, because from dreams and things like that I have seen, even, because the dream that I had a dream back in 2017 about North Korea. And when I awoke from the dream, I had left my TV on, but I had it muted. So when I had the dream, when I woke up and I looked at the screen, they were doing a story about North Korea. And what I feel like is North Korea is going to play a much bigger role than what they give them credit for. Not to say that they would be acting by themselves, but they would be acting more or less as the front guy with all these other nations behind them, supporting them, instructing them, and things like that. So that's something that you want to kind of keep an eye on. Then, and I'm skipping over because I actually was led to the scripture that related to the end part of my dream before this. But right before I started recording this video, I got a notification that said Russian state TV threatens nuclear strike on U.S. Okay, and I'm going to include a link to that story down in the description box below as well. And so the last part of my dream was the most disturbing to me. Like the rest of the dream, I wasn't sure what was going on. It wasn't really anything that was, upsetting. It was just, this is what's going on. But I couldn't make heads or tails of it while I was dreaming. So, when I woke up and I started researching it, it made a lot more sense. But now this part, the end part of my dream was disturbing, okay? Because the end part of my dream, I'm looking at someone and they are literally eating human feces off of a spoon. I mean, they're eating it and then they licking the spoon, okay? And so that was extremely not frustrating, but, shocking to me and concerning to me, because I'm like, oh my goodness, Most High, what does this mean? Okay, yeah, so I started doing some research, and what came up for me was Ezekiel 4, okay? And I'm not going to read the entire scripture, but I am going to read starting at number 9 just to give you the gist of, how it relates to that part of my dream, okay? Okay, so number 9, it says, take wheat and barley, beans and lentils, millet and spelt, put them in a storage jar and use them to make bread for yourself. You are to eat it during the 390 days you lie on your side. Weigh out 20 shekels of food to eat each day and eat it at set times. Also measure out 1/6 of a hin of water and drink it at set times. Eat the food as you would a loaf of barley bread. Bake it in the sight of the people using human excrement for fuel. The Lord said, in this way the people of Israel will eat defiled food among the nations where I will drive them. And so just for context, the amount of food that the Most High is telling him to eat at set times during the day is 8 ounces. So you're talking about 8 ounces of food per day spread out throughout the day. And the amount of water measures out to 2/3 of a quart, spread out throughout the day. So he's wanting him to do this to convey the message that there's going to be lack in terms of food and water. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and read the rest of this. It says, Then I said, not so, sovereign Lord. I have never defiled myself. From my youth until now, I have never eaten anything found dead or torn by wild animals. No impure meat has ever entered my mouth. Very well, he said, I will let you bake your bread over cow dung instead of human excrement. He then said to me, Son of man, I am about to cut off the food supply in Jerusalem. He then said to me, Son of man, I am about to cut off the food supply in Jerusalem. The people will eat rationed food in anxiety and drink rationed water in despair, for food and water will be scarce. They will be appalled at the sight of each other and will waste away because of their sin. So those of us who have been in the awakening for a while know and have probably told others that there's famine coming and you need to be storing up food and water. Now, I don't know how long there will be famine. I don't know who all it will touch. But like I said, there are those among us who are either still asleep, some willfully asleep because they choose not to wake up, and they are not going to fare well unless they are in close association and on good terms with someone who is awake and who has taken heed. But what I feel like, because some of the scriptures that I read also talked about how it's not just going to be the wicked who's going to be feeling it or who's not going to be affected and getting hit and having these things come upon them, but it's going to be those of us who have joined on to those people, those of us who choose wicked, who choose to be on the side of wicked. That's not to say that those of us who are awake won't, but I do believe that, I feel like that's what this was saying to me, what I got from it. So those of you who are in the know, you may want to kind of buckle down and really focus on, getting together your food and water and things of that nature. And because we don't know what's going to be going on, yes, it's good for you to have a garden, but depending on what's going to be going on outside or out in the streets, you may not be able to go outside to tend to it. So even though it's good to garden, it's good to be able to grow, if you don't know what's coming, you don't know how much longer you're going to be able to do that. Not only that, but me just looking at different groups like garden groups and things like that, people are having a really rough time with their gardens right now. Like some people have, lost just about all of their garden to pests or to weather or to the sun or the heat or fungus or something. It's just weird. It's just everywhere you look, people are talking about how, things are going on with their garden that they hadn't experienced before. Okay. So that's just something to think about there. Also, today has just been, message after message after message for me. And that's why I encourage everyone to, really seek the Most High, do your fasting and praying. And I think I'm going to do a separate video on a tea that I use that has helped me so far as breaking my addiction to sweets that helps me with fasting, because it makes it to where I don't even have a taste for sweets. And so I'm going to do a separate video on that to help those who need help with fasting. Okay. And that's another thing, like in the Jeremiah 51 scripture, it talks about the children of Israel fleeing from Babylon, leaving Babylon, getting out of the way of Babylon. And this is what I'll say about that. Okay. When I took that to the Most High, I was immediately sent to the scripture that talks about him, gathering us from the four corners from whatever nation where we are. And so that's why I implore everyone, don't listen to these people online. Don't listen to these people on YouTube telling you, oh, you need to come over here to Africa, be around our people, this, that, and the third. If the Most High didn't lead you there, if the Most High didn't direct you there, don't you go over there. Because, even when you read the scriptures about things that's going to happen later on in the end times, some of the nations of Africa are going to join forces with some of the nations that are going to be coming against our people. So if the Most High isn't leading you, you could be walking into a worse situation than what you're trying to get away from. So you have to have your own relationship with the Most High. You need to be reading the Word. You need to be having conversations with Him. You need to be seeking His face. You need to be fasting and praying. And the reason why I believe fasting helps is because I believe everything, the food, the water, the things that we are ingesting has energy attached to it and tied to it, whether, it's meat or whatever. Even though you may believe it's dead, it has energy attached to it. And I think that when you fast, it kind of releases that hold, whatever that spirit or energy or whatever that's attached to that food. It's broken when you fast, and it allows you to hear more clearly from the Most High. So I implore everyone to, fast, pray, seek the Most High's face so that He can lead you and guide you to the best path for you and your family. Okay, there's nothing wrong with getting together and talking and having conversations with like-minded individuals, but even when you hear that, you need to take whatever you heard from them. If you're considering it, you need to take that back to the Most High and ask Him if that's what He would have you to do. Because He may have someone else doing it because that's the path He has for them. And He has something waiting for them at the end of that path. But He may not have anything waiting for you at the end of that path. He has something for you on your path that He has set out for you. And you need to go to Him and ask Him, find out from Him what that is for you. For instance, I saw a story that talked about how Nigeria had applied to become a part of BRICS and they were denied. And I will say this, like, Nigeria has people there who are supposedly, our people, other, Israelites as well. Okay. And so sometimes the rejection is the Most High telling you, no, I don't want you involved in that. And so I'm hoping that they will be accepting of that and not try to push the issue, because there's no telling what's going to be going on with that whole alliance. And so in some instances, I feel like, and I believe, now this is just me, again, you go to the Most High, you ask Him for you, but I believe that in some of this stuff that's going on, He wants His children to get somewhere and sit down and get out the way. Okay, he don't want us all in the mix and trying to insert ourselves in stuff that ain't our business. Okay. And so when I was in the process of, and actually I wasn't, at this point, I wasn't even researching my dream. It's just kind of something that I just ran across while I was scrolling, on social media. And it was a meme that says, focus on you. You've done enough for the ungrateful. And so this hit my spirit because of a certain part of my dream. In one part of the dream, I was there. There was a relative who was in the hospital. And I was trying to do something to help them, and they were pushing back against me, and everybody around was pushing back against me. And they were like, well, you should know that he wouldn't want this. Why would you want to do something like that? And I'm doing something to try to help them. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if this other person who has a similar nature to this person, if this other person wanted to do that, they wouldn't have a problem with it. They haven't had a problem with this person doing this, right? And so I was kind of a little bit down because everybody was attacking me for trying to help. And so later on in the dream, I'm in a room thinking about that, and I hear some little kids coming through the door, and they're like, yay, why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? Why don't we, and they were talking about doing the very thing that I was trying to help the relative to do. And they were excited. And they were wanting help. And so the way that resonated with me when I saw that meme, and it brought me back to that part of my dream, there are those, and they're probably in your family. They don't want to wake. They talking all crazy about you, saying you crazy, you in a cult, you this, you that. I know you love your family. It's only so much you can do. And I may do a video talking about bloodlines and seeds and the separating of the wheat and the tares. But there's only so much you can do. Okay? There has to be good soil within that person for those seeds that you're planting to take root. And there's nothing you can do about it. And even though it hurts your feelings because you love your family and you don't want them to have to experience this stuff that's coming onto the earth. There's nothing really you can do because they've made their decision. Just like you made yours to follow the Most High, they've made theirs to not do that. And so what you should be focusing on is those people of a like mind. It's helping those people who want to be helped, who are excited about it, who are, awakened, and maybe they need some help, storing up food, or figuring out how to store food, or figuring out how to store water, or how much to do, or how to plant a garden, those people who are looking for help, because there are people out there who are looking for help and they can't find it because we have so many people focusing on the people who don't want the help, who don't, respect the help, who tear you down when you try to help, and who are just plain ungrateful. So the people who want the help are perishing on the vine because you're spending so much time with people who reject it. And the more you push, the more they're going to reject you. So, that's what I got from, that meme and from that part of my dream. Okay. And so that's going to be it for this video, you guys. Please thumbs up the video, share it with like-minded people. Please subscribe if you want to hear more. I have a feeling that there are going to be more messages that the Most High is going to be pressing upon my heart to put out. And so please subscribe if you would like to hear more. But you guys have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks.